Ninjas, welcome to Yoga with Dojo Cat. Today I am going to take you through stretching, strengthening. If you're an athlete, you need to stretch, you need to take care of those muscles, okay? Oh, sorry, just give me 1 second, I forgot to. Oh, there we go, okay. So let's just get into it. We're gonna begin with a standing camel stretch. So I'm just gonna turn to the side so you can see. All right, nice long spine, and we're just gonna take our hands and place them on our lower back. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, just lean backwards. You don't have to be too crazy about this. We're just getting our back muscles ready for camel later in the flow. And you can release. From here, we're gonna go into cow face arms. So we'll take our hands out parallel. We'll lift our right one up, then bend the elbow, reaching in between those shoulder blades. Turn that left hand backwards and reach down and then up in between your shoulder blades. Now, if you are really flexible, you're gonna be able to hold your hands behind your back. My upper body is famously not very flexible. So if I had a strap really handy, I would just grab onto it and pull my hands as close together as I can without causing any injury. So that's something that you can do at home. And we'll release, bring those arms up to the top, just to reset those shoulders, and then back parallel. Okay, we'll move to the other side. So left arm up, bend the elbow, right arm, turn the hand backwards, and then reach up behind. And release, bring those arms up to the top again, and then come back down. All right, we're gonna move into a deltoid stretch. So we'll take our left arm across our body and just wrap our right arm around it, just pulling that shoulder nice and tight, and then you can turn your head to look over that shoulder. Ooh, my shoulders really need this today. And then arms out to a T, and we'll go to the other side. And release. We're gonna roll our shoulders in big circles going backwards. And then switching other direction. And then when you're ready, you can inhale those hands to the sky. I'm just gonna turn. Exhale, folding forward. Don't forget, you can give yourselves a generous bend in the knees, especially since we're just starting. You're probably not feeling very flexible yet, so do whatever you need to do for your body. You can get a little swing motion going here. You can tuck your hands into your elbows and just let your top half hang. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back, gaze forward, and here comes my kitty cat. Exhale, forward fold. From here, we are going to move into downward facing dog. So you can plant those hands and step your feet back. And then just get some motion going here, pedaling out your feet. Trying to touch those heels to the mat. If you want to rock onto your tiptoes to stretch your feet, my toes are cracking. And then let's find some stillness. Relax that head in between your biceps. Inhale that right leg to the sky. Exhale, bring that foot in between your hands. Pivot that back foot so it's parallel. Rise up for warrior one. Now, you guys know in this pose, you're trying to turn your hips towards that lead leg. Nice long spine from your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. So really think about tucking that tailbone under. If your bum is sticking out, tuck it. Tuck it underneath. My cat is on her tree. You're gonna hear some scratching. hands down to the mat, plant them, step back into a plank. So in plank, the higher you keep your hips, the easier this pose is gonna be. We're just gonna stay here for a couple of breaths just to get that fire burning in the core. And then right from here, we're gonna drop into an upward facing dog, but we're gonna keep our toes curled. So you're gonna feel a nice stretch in your toes as well. Keep those thighs floating off the mat, press those heels inwards, and exhale back into downward facing dog. Inhale that left leg to the sky. Exhale, bring that foot in between your hands, pivot that back foot, rise up, warrior one on the left side. Don't forget to actively push that lead leg out. You don't want your knees caving in. Starting to sweat already. And plant those hands to the mat, step back into that plank. Don't forget, you can feel free to drop down to your knees whenever you need to. This is your practice. Do whatever you want, choose your own adventure. And then we're gonna drop back into that kind of variation of the upward facing dog, stretching those feet out at the same time. And exhale, downward facing dog. You can crawl your hands towards your feet and just meet me back into forward fold. You're gonna find by now you're feeling a lot more flexible. Maybe you can straighten your legs a little bit more. Maybe you can place your hands fully on the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. From here, we're gonna inhale into mountain pose. Really get some length in that spine. I'm just gonna move up so I can have some space here. And then sink into chair. So really important here, weight is in your heels. Tuck that tailbone underneath. The more space you keep in between your feet, the easier this pose is gonna be. And also feel free at any point to keep your hands at heart center if your shoulders are burning. And I challenge you to sink as deep as you can into this chair. And then you can straighten back up. Whew. Just thinking about an adjustment I'm gonna make for the next round. Okay. Bird just flew into the side of the house. Anyway. Okay, grounding into that right foot, stepping back into a crescent lunge here. Bring those arms to the sky, tucking that tailbone underneath. Your toes are facing the same direction on the left foot as they are on the right foot. And from here, we are going to go into a revolved twist. So usually when we twist, we're facing the same direction as that lead leg, but for now, we're going to go to the other side. So it feels a little bit more off balance, but that's okay. If you fall out of it, if you're wobbling, don't worry about it. Just come back into the position. And release the twist, bring those arms back up to the sky. And from here, we're going to plant that right hand to the mat and step back into a side plank. Really lift those hips to the sky. Option to come down to your elbow or drop that bottom knee. Whatever you need to do. And you can come onto your knees. We're going to stand up nice and tall on those knees. Place those hands on the lower back. And then tip back for a camel variation. You might find that you can bend your spine a little bit more than we did on that first back bend that we did at the beginning of the flow. And release. Ooh, beautiful work. I'm sweating. Plant those hands to the mat and press back into downward facing dog. So last time I had you walking your hands back towards your feet, but this time we're going to walk our feet towards our hands and meet in forward fold. Just making adjustments on the fly. Usually when I teach at the gym, we don't use yoga mats because the floor is a mat, so changing my cues is, you know, a little bit of a challenge. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale those hands to the sky. And then we're going to sit into that chair on your exhale. If you want to change your arm variation to bring your palms backwards up to the sky, really pressing, you are free to do that. Sink a little lower and a little lower. Couple more breaths. And release, straighten those legs. So grounding into that left foot, step back into crescent lunge, bring those arms to the sky. All right, we're going to bring those arms parallel and twist to our right side. Balance. And we're going to come out of this twist, plant that left hand to the mat, step back, ooh, into a side plank. Lift those hips to the sky. You can bring that right arm to the sky if you want. Also, make sure that that wrist is underneath that shoulder. I just had to check and make an adjustment. Ooh, I'm shaking. And you can plant that hand to the mat, come onto your knees, stand nice and tall. This time we're gonna go into a full camel. If you'd like to stay at this variation where you just keep your hands on your lower back, you're free to do that. Just need to catch my breath. But if you want to do the full pose, we'll just lean back, drop our right hand to our right heel. If you need to spread your knees a little bit wider, you can do that. And then left hand to left heel. Hold onto those heels as a point of contact. Pull those shoulders open, get a nice deep back bend. Lift that chin to the sky. Ooh, and to release, let go of one heel at a time. From here, bring those knees nice and wide, big toes touching, and we're gonna melt into child's pose. Bring that forehead to the mat, rest those forearms. That is the hard part of our flow done. Whew, we've only got a couple poses left, and they're gonna be pretty chill, so. All right. From here, we're gonna go all the way to our backs. Rolling down one vertebrae at a time, nice and slow and controlled. And then we're gonna go into a bridge pose here. So let's bring those heels up to our bum. You should be able to reach back and touch your heel. We're gonna do a couple variations. So from here, lift those hips to the sky, tuck that tailbone underneath. So if you look at my hips right now, my tailbone has a posterior tilt. But if I tuck underneath, you're gonna see that now I have a nice long line going all the way from like my sternum down to my groin. So that's what you want in a bridge. And relax that bum to the floor. The next variation that we do, we're actually gonna roll our shoulder blades underneath and grab onto our hands. Okay, so whenever you're ready, inhale and lift those hips to the sky, crawl up onto those shoulders, grab onto, clasp your hands together, and then again, lift those hips, tuck that tailbone. And release. Oh, my knee just cracked all the way to the floor. That's a body over 30 for you. Everything cracks. Okay, our last pose is my favorite one. You guys know, well, actually, I have a lot of favorite poses. We're gonna go into happy baby. So lift those knees up, take your hands, reach in between. I like to grab onto the outside of my feet. If you wanna just take your 2 fingers and grab onto your big toes, you're free to do that. But as a kickboxer, I've broken my toes a few times, so that's not the best. It's not the most comfortable position for me. So before we go into full happy baby, let's keep those heels nice and close to our groin. We're really stretching out those inner thigh muscles here. And then when you're ready, lift the heels to the sky, pull those knees into your armpits, and you're just gonna get a little bit of swaying motion. If you want, I know this is kind of a silly pose, but who the cares? Not me.